Hey gang, Alfred Einstein again. Welcome. Let's get started. Listen, you want to be a mortgage buyer, mortgage investor? One of the things you're going to have to do is pre-bid due diligence. So what is pre-bid due diligence? Pre-bid due diligence is the series of tasks you complete in order to prepare to submit an indicative bid. In other words, you need to spend some time adding color. I have a complete other video on color. It's really simple. It's only 3 minutes long. Go back and take a look at it. But we're getting ready to prepare to submit an indicative bid. Now, the next question obviously is, what's an indicative bid? Let's talk about that for a quick sec. The indicative bid is how you first show your interest to the seller of a mortgage pool. The seller will ask for indicative bids from many, hundreds of note investors. And you'll need to submit an indicative bid that is at least competitive in order to receive additional due diligence time. So what's going to happen is the seller of the mortgage note will put the note out for sale through brokers or other websites and things of that nature. And then hundreds of investors will send in what their bid will be. Now we're just going to go loan level, so we'll talk about one loan. They'll send in their bid, and the best or highest 2 or 3, they're going to get an additional time, additional due diligence time to look deeper into that mortgage note. So we're not here to talk about post-bid due diligence. We're talking about pre-bid. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you to get to the highest number that you can pay that you could still make money and the seller is going to accept. Now, this is kind of a funky time right now because values are sinking in some areas, and there's a lot of people that are getting into this business. So you're going to be facing competition from other buyers, as well as the problem with property values. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So let's continue. Most sellers nowadays require not only indicative bids on the pool, but also bids on loan level. Bidding at loan level will test your mettle, as you need to put forth a very competitive bid with hopes of fading later. We'll talk about fading a little bit later on another video. A loan level bid will require you to put a bid on each individual loan. So what happens? A pool goes out. There's 20 loans in the pool. And back in the day, you used to have to bid on the entire pool, even though we're just little guys. So you have to have a substantial amount of cash to bid on the whole pool. But what happened is the sellers of the mortgage notes got smart, and they said, you know what, we're going to put the pool out, but we're going to ask for loan level bids. In other words, every investor that wants to buy one of the loans, you don't have to buy the whole thing anymore. You can just buy one here. You can buy line 7. You can buy line 2. You can make offers on the ones that are most appealing to you. And that's a great way for the sellers to get rid of it because they realize that they can sell them piecemeal and make more money. So let's talk a little bit more now about pre-bid due diligence. Pre-bid due diligence, it includes several assessments of the facts. Not only the facts that the note seller will send you in the tape or on the spreadsheet. So you'll have to confirm all that stuff. But these are some things that you have to look at a little closer, in particular, property value, occupancy status, and property tax status. And we're going to talk about that just one at a time for a quick second. Okay, the property value. That's always a sticking point. Always a sticking point. The reason is because everything that you do is going to be based on the property value. You're going to make an offer of 50 cents. That's 50 cents on the dollar based on the value. Everything is based on the property value. So you got to get this right. Now, back in the day, and based on my gray hair, you can tell it was a long time ago, that sellers used to give you a value. And they used to tell you they got the value from an independent appraisal, but most of them got the value from a BPO. BPO, for those of you that might be wondering, is a broker's price opinion. Now, does that broker want to get the listing? Or are they trying to show off on what they really think the property value is worth? Do they think they'll get the listing if the property value is higher or lower? Who knows? So I always question the property value. I always question BPOs especially, and I'd love to get my hands on it because if I can get my hands on the appraisal or the BPO, you'll be able to tell what properties the seller used to come up with their value. Nowadays, they're just using Zillow. Zillow, Realtor.com, whatever it is, they'll just send you a link in the spreadsheet. You'll link to it. Zillow will tell you the house is worth $100 billion, and that's what the seller's going to stick to. So you're going to have to learn, and I will show you how to defeat those values. Now, when you defeat their value, sometimes they're going to listen. Sometimes you're going to hurt their feelings and they're going to go away. You'll just agree, listen, I have this thing priced a lot lower than you do, and let's just do something on another file. This is not going to fly. You'll sell this to somebody else. And have you ever heard the term, there's an ass for every seat? It's comparable here in this business as well. So property value is going to be a sticking point because it's such an important number. Occupancy status. You're going to have to confirm this before you bid. You're going to have to confirm this before you bid. Now, here's what's going to happen. The seller on the tape will tell you whether it's occupied or not. But what happens when it was occupied 3 months ago when they last went to the property? And now you buy it and close on it, and that's 4 months later, and now you go to the house and the house is not occupied any longer. You're not going to be able to get your money back. There's a problem. That's an issue. Because if your loan model says you can pay X for properties that are occupied, sorry about that mess up, and you have to pay Y for vacant properties. You just paid X for an occupied property when you actually received Y, a vacant property. Two different animals in this business. Because one, you have to swallow hard and foreclose. And that's the least beneficial way for a mortgage buyer to work out their loan. So I talk about that in other videos, but let's just get on. You have to determine the occupancy status of the property. Next, you got to confirm the tax status. Because if you're this close to a tax deed sale, you've got to figure out how much cash you're going to have to come up with to put this thing to bed. And one thing I like to do in my business is I realize I'm going to have to pay the taxes, but I'd rather pay the taxes when I either sell the loan or when I sell the property, because that's when I'm going to have money. If not, I want to pay as little bit as possible. And for those of you, I live in Florida. Tax certificates take 3 years to get to a tax deed status. And you always want to pay off just 1 year versus having to pay off 3. I cover that in some of my other videos, so I'm not going to dwell on it here. Okay, forecast models. You're going to have forecast models that help you determine what types of mortgage loans you want to buy. And we just went back to we can go back to the last slide. Occupied, unoccupied. Current on their mortgage, default on their mortgage. Taxes outstanding, no taxes outstanding. You'll have to figure this out, and you do this with forecast models. I love this picture of the purple on that Zoltar guy. Anyways, so what's going to happen at the beginning of the story? You're going to get an invitation to bid. And no, it's not going to be a paper invitation like that. It's going to be a simple email. And the email is going to have a spreadsheet attached. And in the email, it'll say you have 14 days to come up with an indicative bid. Here's your invitation to bid. This is all you're getting. And you're going to receive a loan tape or a spreadsheet that's going to include things like the borrower's name, subject property, the address, original loan amount, the date that the last payment was due, all the stuff like this. And you can confirm a lot of this through the public records. But this is your invitation. You take all the information they give you, confirm that it's true. In other words, one of the things I like to confirm is true is the fact that the name on the mortgage or the name on the property that they're trying to sell the mortgage on, they're the actual mortgagors. They're the ones that took out the loan. You can look it up in the public records. In any event, this is your roadmap for getting some of your due diligence done. It lets you know when your indicative bid gets here. It gives you all kind of information. But like I said, take your time. Not too much time, though, because if you're going to be bidding on 15 loans a week, it's going to take some time. So get this process down to probably between 10 and 15 minutes a piece, and you'll be good. And I'll see you on the other end of a successful mortgage transaction. In any event, this is Alfred Einstein, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out, and honestly, I still don't know how, but I see other video guys asking for it, so do me a favor. In any event, hey, listen, I'll see you next time.